Without Remorse podcast with Joe and Dave. Be warned, the discussions in this podcast will contain detailed spoilers. For spoiler-free reviews of newly released films, please check out our channel Reviews Without Remorse on YouTube and VidMe. Enter at your own risk and enjoy the show. Welcome back to another edition of Reviews Without Remorse. I am, as always, your good buddy Joe, along with my sidekick David. What's going on, partner?
What up, my man?
On this episode, we will discuss, we lost another legend this week, which is a tragedy. We lost Adam West. We will discuss the trailer for the Black Panther dropped. Looks interesting. We will discuss it. There's a couple other movies that I saw real recently that I would like to talk about. And then Dave and I will delve into the fine work of art known as A Good Day to Die Hard. Die Hard 5, which I am anxiously looking forward to discussing.
You sound so not serious.
I'm thrilled to discuss this fine addition to the Die Hard franchise.
Don't you mean this fine final nail to the Die Hard franchise?
We will discuss. So what's happening, partner?
Well, let's see. We have some interesting trailers to talk about, and most importantly, we have to talk about another childhood hero of ours.
That he is certainly a childhood hero. Probably my first childhood hero.
People our age, probably. Joe and I are, let's just say, we're in our upper 40s. We weren't even born when the original 1966 Batman series came out. Mm-hmm. But it sure as hell was in syndication as we were growing up. And it sure as hell was my first exposure to Batman. And it sure as hell is probably why, to this day, Batman remains my favorite comic book character of all time.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. We were just talking last week about Roger Moore. And I was saying, I said, you know, I don't know that he was the best James Bond, but he was certainly the James Bond that I grew up on and got me into James Bond in the first place. Mm-hmm. And, you know, Adam West is extremely similar in that respect. And honestly, he was younger for me. I remember being a kid with my little brother watching Batman all the time, and the two of us running around dressed up like Batman and Robin in our Batman and Robin underoos. I mean, this is how young we're talking.
Oh, and no.
Yeah, and you talk about, you know, again, just like kind of like Roger Moore, how he sort of, you know, carried the James Bond torch through a weird era and brought people into James Bond that you know might not have otherwise really got it. Mm-hmm. Adam West was very much the same way. I mean, he got us into Batman. He was my very first. I mean, when I say he was my first hero, the way I think of it today, like you know, a superhero or just a heroic figure in you know. In media, you know, in fiction, I'm telling you, it's got to be him. I really can't think of anything that I got into younger than that. I mean, he was the first big superhero that I remember. I mean, this is even before the Christopher Reeve Superman, even.
Yes,
I mean,
absolutely.
we're talking about like full-blown childhood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I tell you, and the genius. You know, it's funny because now everyone sort of looks back, and you know, for a long time it was like, oh, that was so corny and campy and jokey, and you know we want our super duper serious Batman. Well, careful what you wish for.
Why did you say that name?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, no bagging today. This is about the man.
No, yeah, you're right. No, I'm just saying. I mean, well, I'm just saying, like, you know, I think there was a period where Adam West kind of got the shaft because, you know, everyone wanted like a serious Batman, and that's fair. I mean, I want to see my superheroes evolve and be a little more whatever. I mean, it was what it was back then,
mm-hmm.
but at the time it was phenomenal. And I tell you too, it was interesting because as you grew up, like we were kids, we didn't even get that it was supposed to be funny.
Yeah.
We just thought
this is so cool.
Right. I mean, he's running around fighting crime, and this is what you do, and you know, and he was. I mean, again, he played it almost like Leslie Nielsen. Like, you know, he's deadpan serious, and that's why it's funny. But you don't get that when you're young.
Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
You know, it's only when you're older and you look back on it that you sort of get it. So yes, I mean it was great because young kids could watch him and just be thrilled with the heroicism and the fights and everything, but grown-ups could watch it and they were laughing. You know, and again, like they get the jokes. They're chuckling along, and I mean, of course, I'm watching all the YouTube videos of all the Adam West clips. I just watched a clip. It was all of the. Remember how he used to walk up the side of the wall, and once in a while somebody would pop out of a window. Hey, Batman, what are you doing? And it would usually be somebody famous or whatever. I didn't realize just how often that happened and how many famous people had done that. You know, I mean, already. I mean, again, you had a cavalcade of stars playing villains in these shows. I mean, there was these very famous people playing villains. But even those little guest appearances just popping out of the windows, there was a ton of those.
It should be good practice if something ever takes us to Mount Everest, Batman.
I think we'll be confining our campaign against evil to Gotham City for some time to come, old chum. It needs us.
Hey! Batman and Robin! What are you guys doing?
Just routine crime fighting.
Well, would you like to come inside? I'm rehearsing.
Thank you, citizen, but our pursuit of justice allows us few diversions.
Be seen.
Hi, Robin. Hey, you guys come and catch my act sometime. I dig yours.
There's a lot we didn't appreciate about that show back in its day. We were young. And then as we became angsty teenagers, it's like, oh, well, here in the comic book, he's nowhere near. Like, boo, boo on that show. Oh, that show's a lie. And, you know, and I freely admit I was part of that. But it always still held a very solid place in my heart. I cast it aside, but I don't believe I ever really disrespected it because it was an important part of my development. And when, I mean, for example, when he popped up on Batman the Animated Series as the Gray Ghost, I was watching that episode, and here I was, you know, it's like, and you could argue what you want. We could have this argument another time, but as far as I'm concerned, so far the closest to comic book Batman that has ever been done has been Batman the Animated Series. So to see this perfect representation of Batman, to me, embracing Adam West and tributing him with that Gray Ghost episode. Oh, I was fucking crying. I was like, and it's even more poignant now than it was before.
Yeah, and that episode really does hit it on the head, too. I mean, you know, he was the one we looked up to when we were... I mean, again, like I said, we might be all off looking for super-duper serious, you know, superhero movies now, but at the time, that was exactly what got us into the whole idea in the first place.
Yeah, long before Crying for Martha, there was, come on, chum!
Exactly. Oh, my God. I mean, I honestly... And I tell you, I love... You know, it's funny. In our very first episode, when I did my top 10 for last year, one of the ones I mentioned was the Return of the Cape Crusader.
Yeah.
And oh my God, it was great. And I tell you, you've told me already. I think that he may have recorded another one.
Oh,
there might have been another one in the works.
Dude, I hope to God the rumors are true. Nobody said anything yet, but supposedly he did finish recording the dialogue because this sequel has William Shatner playing Two-Face.
Isn't that awesome? I'm praying that comes out. Yeah.
Oh, I hope it's true. I pray to God. That would be such a beautiful swan song for that man.
It really is. I tell you too. I've always been a big fan of, especially for aging actors and actresses. Doing animations is such a great way to do more of that stuff that you can't do. Go back in time and do. And Adam West, I mean, of course, he had a great career doing voice work. It was he's Mayor West on Family Guy, and every time he
exactly.
Oh my God,
he's bleeding out of his nose.
My God, I'm a tomato.
Would be, I mean, and the stuff he comes up with on it is so awesome because it's not even like the one where Peter goes to the proctologist and he gets violated and he's running out with his pants down.
Ugh, get a tan.
Like, it's so perfect.
I'm gonna miss you so much. I actually got to meet him. Him and Burt
Really?
Ward. Yeah, like 3 years ago at Emerald City Comic-Con. And Liam got to meet him, so he was very happy to... Liam was a bit upset about it, too, but, you know, he was very, very happy that they got to meet him. He's such a nice man, so charming and everything like that. Just, you know, rest in peace, my man. Thank you.
That's it.
Thank you for introducing me to this world. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being my first hero.
Do me a favor. Can't you just be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man?
Just
stay close to the ground.
Yeah, little things going on. New Spider-Man poster came out, I think just today or yesterday. Just new posters dropped, which is really only funny because I was bagging on the other one last week.
It's like they heard you.
I tell you, right? I mean, I think they heard everybody. I think a lot of people sort of bellyached about it. But what they came out with is much better. But I tell you, I'm looking at this saying, all right, it's going to be a Spider-Man, Iron Man team-up. And if it's not, I'm going to get kind of crabby because, again, that's how they're pitching this. Mm-hmm. It's in each one, it is Spider... It's like... It looks like a buddy cop movie. It's him and Iron Man just not too far behind right there. You know, almost front and center with him.
Do you think Iron Man will say, I'm getting too old for this shit?
Very possibly. Very possibly.
I kind of hope now that you're putting it that way, I want that to happen. That needs to happen. He needs to say, seriously. I'm getting too old for this shit.
Seriously. And I'll tell you, too, I heard also that Tom Holland kind of dropped some possible news that this Spider-Man incarnation is definitely signed on to do a trilogy.
Of course it is.
He made mention of the fact that there's, he was talking about what's going to happen in the next two, as Spider-Man gets older and whatever. So, I hope so. I mean, that would be... Logic tells me that that's what they'll do. Sony tells me that logic is not to be trusted. So, I don't know. That's why I'm kind of like, oh, goody. You know what I mean?
I guess it really depends upon who has the reins of the ship, frankly, at this point. Because if Sony had the reins to the ship, they'd wind up like that disaster that was The Mummy this past weekend. Okay? Where it's like, this is the beginning of our cinematic universe.
Wow. I seriously. The first and last of the, the Dark Universe.
It's not going to be the last because guess what? They're filming Bride of Frankenstein already, which, by the way, they're filming before Frankenstein. Let's point that out. Yeah,
well, who knows? I mean, they did Suicide Squad before they actually did a Batman. I mean, who knows? It's funny too because when I heard the complaints about The Mummy, I said, well, there you go. That's exactly what my worst fears were. Is that again, they're just trying to dig up what they can to make their new cinematic universe and make classic horror films into summer blockbusters. So it's going to be part horror, part action, part this, part that, and from what I hear, it's basically Dark Universe Part 1. The Mummy just happens to be in it. It's a ton of exposition, blah, 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 ugh. So yeah, just everything wrong about how to do a kickoff to your new universe. And again, it's just like Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man 2. It's like
the movie that basically said, just wait for the sequels that are never coming.
Right, exactly. Ugh. So, yeah, glad I skipped on that one last weekend.
Yeah,
so.
Seriously. You and I were talking about it, too. It's like, do we go see it? It's like, what do we have a responsibility to? We don't really have many listeners as of yet. Is it really responsible of us to put our money for a movie that we're basically sitting there and taking a giant, shall we say, pineapple and shoving it up our own asses?
Seriously. Yeah, I mean, put it this way. I look forward to the day that I have to sit through crummy movies so we can do reviews on them.
Yeah.
At this stage of the game, let's...
we can be a tad more selective.
Yeah, exactly.
Not too much selective, because when we get to Die Hard, A Good Day to Die Hard, you'll realize we suffer for you sometimes, people.
Yeah, we do. And we will today. But
speaking of suffering, how about that Flatliners trailer?
What's going on?
I would like you to stop my heart. You give it 1 minute, and then you bring me back.
Okay, now's the point where you say it's all a joke.
Oh, yeah, okay. Let's talk about the Flatliners trailer. Wow.
Oh,
just caught this one today. Go ahead, you run with that for a second.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, Joel Schumacher directed back in the early 90s, the late 80s? It was around that time. It was Joel Schumacher directed the original Flatliners with Kiefer Sutherland, Julia Roberts, Oliver Platt, Kevin Bacon. I mean, that movie basically made my 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon game in many respects. It was an imaginative little tale told pretty well. I mean, it wasn't the greatest movie of all time, but it was imaginative. It was fun. It was interesting. It had some neat little psychological aspects to it and everything. And somebody in Hollywood has decided this needs a remake.
Ugh.
And the trailer is just, well, first of all, the trailer basically gives up the game. And that annoyed me right to bad. Because, like, when I saw the first Flatliners, it was like, wow, they're delving into, the idea, the possibility of afterlife. And, they didn't actually show anything that was happening. They just had that one line. It's like, we brought something back with us. And that was really all you needed. It was like, oh, yeah. What's all that about, but in this one, they basically spell out the whole fucking movie in the trailer, which is a pet peeve of mine. Yeah. It's not an original idea. It's so. You know what the funny part is? The original one, like, felt more grounded than this piece of shit that we just saw. Okay.
Yeah.
I'd say the most fantastical element that they did in that thing was they had this like hot blanket and cold blanket that was like the same blanket that it's like, okay, we gotta heat them back up, so the blanket would go from a blue glow to a red glow. I think that was about the most fantastical elements about it, but the rest of the science in it and the rest of the way they did it was, relatively plausible. This just looks like, oh my God, they're in this white room with this giant white device and everything like that, using this.
Yeah.
In the original movie, they basically snuck off with like equipment you can carry, like a defibrillator and a couple of other things. And in this thing, they're in this giant, sophisticated room. It's like, give me a fucking break. Just, we're going to sexify this up.
Flatliners to me is an excellent movie. Is it a perfect movie? I don't know. But I mean, I actually really liked that one for years. I thought the idea was excellent. The execution was fantastic. I frankly, and the cast is great.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a big Julia Roberts fan, whatever, but for the most part, I thought it was a really excellent movie, and it was a really thought-provoking film. If people haven't seen it, see the original. It's really good.
Yeah.
I always felt like it kind of went just short of really. That's a story that should have a serious emotional punch, and Jacob's Ladder gets it a little more right to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's kind of like that in a way. Jacob's Ladder gets it a little closer because it kind of grabs you a little more by the brain, the base of your brain.
Right.
But yeah, Flatliners is spectacular. It's a really excellent movie, and it's got a great look and feel. And frankly, this is when I really liked Joel Schumacher. Yeah. This was pre-Batman and Robin.
Oh, God, yes.
Yeah, this is when he was doing pretty good stuff. Lost Boys and this. So yeah, so sure enough, I saw the trailer. I said, oh, I didn't even know they were remaking it. And sure enough, when I saw the trailer, I'm like, ugh. I mean, this to me looks like going to be more or less a shot-for-shot remake. All the lines are the same. The whole story is exactly the same, except it's more jump scares and things flying around. I don't know why, and of course it's going to get more special effectsy because now they're going to get into the whatever. So I don't know,
because now they can do the CGI.
Yeah, and to me, like, this is a classic example of why you bothering. Don't bother. If you're just going to do the same thing again, don't even bother with it.
Tell me something. What do you know about Wakanda?
It's a third world country.
Textiles, shepherds, cool outfits, all a front. Explorers have searched for it. Called it El Dorado. They looked for it in South America. But it was in Africa the whole time.
There's another trailer that dropped this week, which is quite different.
You think?
Yeah.
Holy fudgelini.
What'd you think?
I freaking adored it, man. Are you kidding me? I just, listening to freaking Andy Serkis as Ulysses Claw, that in itself was fucking awesome. Seeing, like, the shots, seeing M'Baku picking up that guy by the fucking top of his head. Oh, my God. Just right out of the goddamn book, and everything just so colorful and everything like that. The shots of him in the forest, up against the poachers and everything like that. Damn it, that was beautiful.
I'm trying to think of the right way to say this without catching flack, but I said before, there just doesn't seem to be a genre that Marvel can't do, and this one, kind of like Luke Cage, had a very urban quality to it, and it works. I mean, it kind of felt like it was kind of like classic urban meets modern urban, I guess. And it was sort of a mesh of styles, and boy, did it work. I mean, the music went with it. I mean, it was really phenomenal. I thought they really kind of nailed it in that respect too. I thought it was exciting looking.
I'm tentatively excited. I knew they could make a good Black Panther movie, and I see after his appearance in Civil War, it's like, okay, they get the guy, and now seeing the show, it's like they really get the guy. So I'm quite excited by the possibility of the movie, and yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic, but like penis hardening optimistic, I guess you could say. I am excited. I'm a little excited. Yes.
Mm. I tell you, I mean, it's really kind of amazing how expansive this universe is getting, and I'm really starting to say to myself, like, I tell you, I mean, and I know now they're talking Phase 4, and
right.
I don't know exactly like what the films are in Phase 4. I just know there is a Phase 4, and because again, this train is not stopping.
There's nothing officially announced yet for Phase 4. The second Infinity War movie, which they won't give a subtitle to because it seems it's a spoiler for the first Infinity War movie, that's going to be the end of Phase 3. Phase 3 is huge.
Right. Okay. And Captain Marvel, I think, is probably the last new character we're going to get before the last Infinity War.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, but they are going to do... They basically said they are doing Phase 4. So I'm telling you, here, you want to know what my secret wish is? My wish, and I don't know if this is even feasible, and a lot of things would have to happen for this to be possible, but I'll tell you what, the Secret Wars comic was like my all-time favorite comic.
Oh,
if down the line, if they could just make that their coup de grace, oh my God, I would just love it. I mean, again, a lot of things would have to happen, but the way this train is going, I don't see why I couldn't. If they could get the Fantastic Four and the X-Men,
they won't get the X-Men back anytime soon.
I could definitely see them getting Fantastic Four. You're right about X-Men too, but then again, that train, if Marvel keeps going the way they're going, and Fox just sort of says, look, I know we can do this, but maybe Marvel can do it better, and maybe we can just get some more money out of it. I don't know.
No, that's never going to happen.
But again, they've just retired Logan. They've retired Hugh Jackman's Logan. They're going to have to start over anyway. So, look, I'm not saying I'm not arguing with you that I think it will happen. I'm with you too. I'm extremely skeptical also. But I just have this glimmer of hope because, again, they're kind of at this... You know what mucked it up is Deadpool. Because Deadpool came along and all of a sudden was a home run that they didn't expect.
Right.
Now suddenly, in fact,
except
if you
all
watch
the people with brains and comic book fans that said, no, you don't understand. This will work.
Right. Actually, did you see the how it should have ended? What they did for Logan?
No! Not like this, you sexy, scruffy man. Excuse me, little girl. Live! Live! Queer! Oh, thank God. That was a close one.
What happened?
We almost lost you there, big guy. I can't let you go dying on me. We're just getting started. Here, I brought you your tights and everything.
Oh,
Now you're getting it. Come on. Let's go rub our butts on some glass.
I thought I lost you there, buddy. We're just getting started. And he brings his costume and everything. Like, that was perfect. And honestly, I said to myself, that is kind of where we're at. I kind of feel like they were just winding down with Logan. They were just kind of going to let that one die. And, Jackman is done. And now, Patrick Stewart said he's done.
Mm-hmm.
First he said he wasn't. Then he said he was because he said this was just too good of an exit. I should just let that be it. So they're going to have to reboot that anyway. So, Again, it's like I'm saying to myself, maybe if they're at this point where, Ian McKellen is old, Patrick Stewart is done, Hugh Jackman is done, what are you going to do, like a Storm takeoff with Halle Berry? No. They're going to have to reboot this anyway, at least very soon. They'll do, maybe they'll do another one with the younger
They are doing another one. It's already scheduled. It's called Dark Phoenix.
Okay, so there you go. But again, like I said, I still say to myself, like, they're probably gonna want to reshape this at some point. Maybe if they just talk to Marvel now and say, look, guys, just out of curiosity, what would you throw us if we said we wanted to work together on this? Just maybe. That's all I'm saying. I don't know. I just, like I said, it's my little fantasy gears are turning, and that's what they're thinking about. Do I expect it? No. I don't see it happening, because, again, I don't think Fox wants to give up the one money-making property that they seem to be able to do.
Yeah, it's nice
Fantastic
to dream.
Four,
it's nice to dream, Joe. I also dream about winning the lottery.
Well, there you go. There you go. Well, I tell you what. I'm getting Infinity Wars. That's look, settle for that, dude. That's what I say. That's what I tell myself if I don't get Secret Wars.
This story for me was uncovering a big superhero secret. Bob Kane is the man who has been credited on Batman for most of Batman's history.
When you open a comic book, there it says created by Bob Kane. When you see the movies, it says created by Bob Kane. Correcting that is something that terrified everybody, I think, for decades.
I saw Batman and Bill.
Oh, you mentioned that one. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, Batman and Bill is a documentary about an author. This is an author who researched and did like a children's book about how Siegel and Schuster came up with Superman. And he decided he was going to do the same thing with Batman, and he uncovered like the most well-known and not well-known secret that Batman was really was invented by Bob Kane, but was truly created by an unheralded man by the name of Bill Finger.
Yeah, okay.
And this is the documentary about how, from the moment he decided to write the novel up to when finally, after years, because like one of the things that that Bob Kane did very smartly was when he basically sold Batman to DC, one of the things is that in any form of media that Batman has portrayed, he always gets a credit as created by Bob Kane. This is the story of them finally getting it. So like when you saw Batman v Superman, it said Batman created by Bob Kane, co-created by Bill Finger. Which to me is one of the biggest stories of justice in comic book history ever, as far as I'm concerned. And the documentary just went through it. It was really, really uplifting. And sure enough, I had just started watching it right after I'd heard about Adam West. And there's one point where Bill Finger's granddaughter meets Adam West. So I'm crying watching this goddamn documentary. So
nice.
It's really good. It's on Hulu. So if you have a Hulu subscription, ladies and gentlemen, please check it out. It's a really wonderful story and a nice end for somebody who didn't deserve the ending that he had.
I know what you're thinking. How the heck does a 52-year-old over-the-hill milkshake machine salesman build a fast food empire with 1,600 restaurants at an annual revenue of $700 million? One word: persistence.
It's funny you should mention that, because that brings me to one of my films, which it actually had a very, very similar message. I saw The Founder, which I'd been actually really anxious to see. As soon as I first saw it, because I'd always heard the story. The Founder is about Ray Kroc, who is technically the founder of McDonald's.
Right.
And I'd always heard stories about him and how he came to, how he came to be the giant that he was. Basically, this is the story about how Ray actually discovered a little restaurant named McDonald's. I was shocked how well done this was. Michael Keaton, I tell you, he's getting so much better in his old age.
Yeah.
He has a way about him. I mean, he was always good.
Yeah.
But I feel like now he's got this depth to him that is just phenomenal. So watching him is really enjoyable. And I liked that this movie didn't pull any punches. Like, I kind of felt like they made him just sympathetic enough that you thought you were going to like him, and you weren't sure if you liked him. He was aggressive, but he was also kind of a schlub, and God bless him for his hard work and whatever. But basically, at some point, they just have no qualms about making him look like the worst piece of shit ever. This guy was a total scumbag, and this movie does not hold back in any way. So I really thought it was excellent. It was really good. again, they just told a story. They didn't make a big story. They didn't make it try to go over. They just told a story, and this is how you do it. I really thought this was a really effective way to show this, and I was pretty just mesmerized by it. So I really definitely recommend The Founder.
Get out.
Sorry, man.
Get out! Yo!
Rose, we gotta go.
Is everything okay?
Rose, the keys. Just get the keys.
I don't know where they are.
Rose?
The other one I wanted to mention really quick that I finally saw was called Get Out.
Yeah, don't spoil too much about this. I want to see this, please.
I will not. I will not. It was, it's about your buddy, Key and Peele. What's that guy's name?
It's either Keenan or Peele, but I think it's
Keenan. I think it's
Keenan. Keenan is the one who's in this. Yes.
Yeah. He wrote. I don't know if he wrote it or wrote and directed it, whatever.
Directed it actually.
Yeah, I tell you, really. And somebody told me that a guy from a comedy troupe was going to write a horror movie, and it was going to be based on his experiences of racism, and I was like, none of those three things sound to me like a good horror movie. I was very pleasantly surprised. Like I said, I won't give a lot away. I won't give anything away. I just thought it was really well done. It's, if you like a smart horror movie,
which I do.
First of all, it was the kind of creepy stuff that really kind of gets under my skin a little bit and made me a little unnerved personally. And again, it's, if you like a horror movie where the people in it are not doing stupid things, like, this plot doesn't have to be moved forward by everyone doing dumb things. You know, like, we don't have to, like, let's go hide in the attic, or let's go do it.
There's a killer out there. Let's fuck.
Right, yeah, right, exactly. Let's do everything stupid we can possibly do. Now, this is, the protagonist in this film is probably doing exactly what you're thinking he should be doing. Like, what you would be doing in this situation. So, again, that's a pretty smart movie to me. So I was along for the ride the entire time, and I was totally on board and very impressed.
Nice.
I mean, he really did mesh elements that I didn't think could be meshed, and I was wrong. Again, there were funny moments that were perfectly, didn't break the story. You didn't have to it wasn't silly funny, but there were funny moments in it. And it's like, wow, this is real. I mean, it was a very, very smart film. So I'll just leave it at that. I definitely recommend seeing Get Out if you haven't seen it already.
Cool. It's actually at my discount theater right next to my house. So I should maybe go see that.
American?
Yeah, New York.
Are you a cop?
Yeah. It's gonna be loud. How'd you know I was a cop?
You don't look like a lawyer.
Does that mean we have to talk about this now? Did I run out of stalling?
It kind of, it's funny when you put up the news. When you sent me the link for the news for the week, it's like, man, that's a lot of topics. It's like, and I'm reading through. It's like, yeah, that's a good topic. Yeah, that's a good topic. It's like, he doesn't want to fucking talk about this movie. He doesn't want to talk about this damn movie.
Well, I mean, truthfully, there was a lot that sort of popped up this week, and whatever. But yeah, Die Hard 5. Let's, I guess we have to.
You know how I start my reviews usually? It's like, hey, you know what? I want to start by talking about the bad things, and then we'll go into the good things. If it's all right with you, I'd like to go the other way this week.
Absolutely. Go ahead. Feel free.
Okay. That initial car chase in the movie was damn good. If there was CGI, it wasn't obvious. Like, what... It really felt very visceral and real. It was very well done. I enjoyed that initial car chase scene.
Okay. Anything else?
No, that's it.
I hated that car chase.
Why did you hate that car chase? Oh, this is going to be a good show.
The car chase I thought was terrible because, first of all, if this was a different film, I probably would still not like it. I didn't feel like you knew... The geography wasn't good. I didn't feel the geography was very good. I felt like it was a lot of, again, he's driving over this and over other cars and doing a lot of crazy stuff and we don't even know yet where we're going, why we're going there. So I didn't find the slightest bit of tension in that at all.
Oh, dude, let me explain something to you. I wasn't on the edge of my seat. I'm just saying, technically, it was beautifully done. Dude, the fact of the matter is they did it. It looks like they had stunt drivers. They had this one shot where he whacks this car that's in front of him. You could see the car driver, trying to sort of freak out. And he makes the car spin around and stuff like that. If that was all CGI stuff, God bless the fucking animators, did a great job. Because I'm sitting there watching like, holy fuck, that stunt driver's going to die. And I kept thinking to myself, what the hell are the OSHA laws in Russia? Obviously not that much, because probably some stuntmen died during this scene.
First of all, I'd be very curious to know where they actually did film this movie.
No, it was filmed in Russia. It was totally filmed absolutely positively filmed in Russia. They did.
Okay.
That was one of my other things that I noted, was that it was just like every single establishing shot. It was like, oh, let's do a quick shot from the distance. I was starting to get really annoyed with the exterior long shots. We get it. You filmed in Russia,
Right.
And they did that a lot, just to be like, oh, look, Russia. Yeah, if they didn't film in Russia, I guess I'll eat a shoe.
Yeah, establishing shots great, but the rest of it, I was looking in the background, saying to myself, they could have filmed this in New Jersey. I wouldn't know any better. I'll just say it. Not only is this the worst Die Hard film ever, I think this is possibly one of the worst films I've ever seen in my entire life.
Wow, that's just really putting it bad.
This movie is awful, and I saw every single Die Hard film in the theater. From the very first one, every time a sequel came out, I was out and I saw it. And I mentioned last week that I really liked Die Hard 4. I liked the Live Free or Die Hard.
Right.
So when this one came out, and it was pretty quick, I thought. It was pretty quick after the last one.
Within 2 years or something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they figure, okay, John McClane's back, everybody likes him, let's quickly get another one out.
Oh, and potentially have a replacement for him.
Yeah, in the form of Jai Courtney, I suppose.
Yeah, it's like, because they made that very clear at the end of the flick. It's like, come on, Jack. It's like, my name is John. It's like, you see? So now they can continue on. Look, John McClane is back, but now he's his son.
Yeah, and I don't know who Jai Courtney has naked pictures of in Hollywood, but again, I don't know why this guy all of a sudden showed up in every franchise that we know and love. But okay, I don't really feel this guy's got the charisma to be quite so prominent. But yeah, I mean, this one, I say to myself, first of all, it doesn't feel anything like a Die Hard movie. It feels like some other film that was underway, and someone said, you know what, we should make this a Die Hard movie. And they're literally trying to slip him in the side door.
Yeah.
And, I mean, to the point where there were some shots that I honestly looked at it and thought, I almost wondered if they sort of CGI'd him into the shot, even. I'm probably wrong. But there were some parts where it was like the two guys are standing together, and he's kind of just over a little too far. And I'm saying, like, did they CGI him into this? Like, it doesn't. It looked funny.
Maybe he wasn't on set that day.
The whole film feels completely incoherent. It's a story that kind of starts in the middle, and then just goes, and then McClane just appears, and so I mean, when I talked about Die Hard 3, I complained there that it didn't feel like Die Hard to me. Well, Die Hard 3 is Citizen Kane next to Die Hard 5. This thing...
Well, Citizen Kane in a Die Hard respect. Let's quantify that a second.
Right. It makes Die Hard 3 feel like, right, a brilliant film. I mean, because, again, that one has a story. It has a story. It has scenes. It has things that happen and problems that need to be solved. Here, I don't know what the hell is going on. And I've seen it... Again, I saw it in the theater... Don't know what the hell's going on. Then I watched it again for this review, and I still don't get what the hell's going on.
Oh, I got what's going on. It's just, it was it was a poor choice. It was a poor vehicle for a John McClane movie. And frankly, even as like a spy movie, it was a poor choice. It really didn't have...
Even if this was a plain old spy movie and John McClane wasn't even involved,
right?
I still say you still have to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. You have to introduce characters and introduce a story and give me something that I should care about.
Right.
But even the beginning of it, I was already kind of put off because, that explosion, I don't know if they show it or whatever, how they do it, but, like, a lot of people either got killed or could have been killed.
Which explosion are we talking about here?
The initial ones to get them out.
Okay, but that was the CIA. That was the bad guys that was trying to kill them.
Why does Jai Courtney use that? I mean, he needed to get himself into the courtroom.
Yes.
So that when that happened,
no. See, what you're doing, Joe, is you're trying to apply logic where there is no logic. Okay, he got captured to be put in that courtroom. Yes, that absolutely was part of the deal, but the explosion wasn't supposed to be part of the deal, which tells me. You see, that's one of my biggest actual sticking points in the movie. Because one of the things he's complaining about is like, God damn it, John, you made me miss my window for being rescued. It's like, well, wait a second. What the fuck was your plan? Because up to the point of the explosion, you weren't doing shit but sitting in a goddamn cell. You know? And it didn't look like you had a team of people getting ready to come in or anything like that. So what the fuck are you complaining about? What was your plan?
It doesn't make sense. And you're right. And that window was ridiculously narrow because, again, John McClane barely stopped him for like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like this 2 seconds later, your window's closed, you're done. And it's like, wait. So I was saying to myself, but it didn't make sense. Well, yeah.
No, it makes sense because it had to move the plot fucking forward with John McClane and his son.
I don't know. I didn't get it. Like you said, either Jai Courtney was in the courtroom ready to get busted out to get to where he needed to be with split-second precision, or that was just dumb luck, and he never would have made it anyway. And even when he's talking to them, they should have been surprised, like, oh, we didn't know you were going to get busted out, so we didn't set up. But I don't get it.
Yeah,
something was wrong. Something is not correct.
No.
And again,
it's
and seriously, and John McClane literally stopped him for like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So how the window closes, they're in the middle of nowhere. So they're nowhere near anything that I would think would be an extraction point to get them out. So I don't know. So already I don't get it. So then the car chase is going on, and again, now John McClane shows up. Now, John McClane has no idea. He thinks his son got arrested for something. Mm-hmm. He thinks he's like dealing drugs. Like he thinks he's like living in a hostel and smoking weed with his buddies and got into trouble dealing drugs and got arrested.
Right.
That's what he thinks he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
So when he goes there and the son takes off, and he even yells, he says something like, "You're just going to make it worse," because he thinks he's breaking out of jail, I guess. But then, again, John McClane starts driving over cars and crashing into cars. He punches a guy in the face to carjack another car just to follow his son. I wouldn't follow him. I wouldn't crash into cars and drive over cars if I had to get, like, if my best friend jumped bail and took off, I'll get him. I'm not going to go driving over cars to get him and committing other felonies in the process. That didn't make any sense. That's why, like, when I said, like, car chase, okay, good crashes, good car flips and whatever. Again, I didn't love it because I thought the geography was sort of all over the place. And again, shaky cam and just the look of the film. It's that Zack Snyder gray. I don't know why they decided to go that way.
Because it's Russia. In Russia, everything's grey.
In Soviet Russia, road forks you.
Why is that getting old?
Right, I guess. But even still, the whole thing was dismal looking. The whole movie looks like that. I thought it was awful. But again, like I'm already saying to myself, like none of what they're doing makes any sense. Why would John McClane be crashing into cars, beating people up to take their car? And again, I don't think John McClane acts like John McClane in this because he's not likable. He's not likable at all because he, like I said, in the first few films, he's trying to save people. He's trying to rescue people. He's a good guy, you know. And this again, all I see is him.
There were no real stakes.
Well, not only no real stakes, but now over the top crazy destruction for no stakes. Again, I don't know what the stakes are yet. I don't know anything that's even happening. And as far as John McClane knows, his son got caught dealing drugs and he just skipped bail.
And I promise.
And this isn't even the first 5 minutes into the movie. Like, this is like 10 minutes in, and I'm already kind of like not getting it and hating it and trying to figure out what the heck is going on.
By 30 minutes in, I understood where they were going with it. It was a poorly told beginning. It was a poorly told everything. Frankly,
it's a poorly told everything. Again, even if you can sort of catch up and get the I mean, again, I hear what they're telling me, but I just don't understand the stakes. I mean, even when you get to the end. When McClane and again, they bring this guy all the way to Chernobyl, or no, they bring him. They lose him halfway. No, you're right. They lose him halfway, but they continue on to Chernobyl and they catch up with him there to realize that all that was happening all along. And again, this whole thing, like they're going crazy and having the all to rescue one guy. And Jai Courtney's saying this, he's really important. You don't understand. Well, at the end, they do the bait and switch, which I kind of, sort of, like.
I didn't see it coming. I didn't see that coming. I'll be honest with you.
I wasn't surprised. I was not surprised.
Yeah.
I don't know if I saw it totally coming, but again, it didn't really make any sense because when they captured. Again, the daughter shows up. That other scene, that dumb scene with the guy with the carrot. I'm like, and the tap dancing guy with the carrot. Like, I don't know. It's like some things like I would forgive if the rest of the movie was okay, but then the whole thing is terrible. And then this guy comes with the carrot and he starts tap dancing. I'm like, no, whatever.
This is what you've been doing? 007, Plainfield, New Jersey.
But the daughter shows up. Now McClane sniffs out the daughter, right? Now he because he's got the John McClane sixth sense and he knows, when trouble's brewing. So he figures the daughter out. Then so the daughter, just like McClane predicted, turns on them, pulls the gun out and says, "Oh, this is a lot of money, Papa," and they take him and they leave. All right. Well, if they went to the trouble to do that, now again, they all know, right, that the guy he's dirty.
Mm-hmm.
The daughter knows the father's already dirty. So really, this is just for John and son to be deceived.
Yeah, pretty much.
But why go through that? Why not just? I mean, the daughter shows her hand. Why doesn't the father just say, "Sorry guys, but I was a bad guy all along. See ya," and kill them?
I see what you're missing. Allow me.
Good.
By the way, this isn't going to make it better. I'm just going to explain. Okay, you knew the girl was bad. First of all, you knew who the girl was when they showed that opening scene where the girl on the motorcycle comes up. And there she is, the hot girl, and she goes up to the, this is the bad guy.
A shot which they ruined, by the way. The one good shot in the commercial was her taking the suit off, and then in the actual film they mucked it up and didn't even show that. But go ahead.
Yeah, pretty much. So showing her being, showing this hot girl, long lingering shots of this hot girl going up to this guy who we're presuming is the bad guy. So when Yuri later said that I have a daughter, it's like that's the daughter. Knew that right off the bat. That was not a secret. Again, I'm not trying to justify the plot. I am not defending this movie in any way, shape, or form. Okay? She went to the big bad dude, to convince him to break her father out of prison. Which, by the way, he put him in, so whatever. Let's just move that aside. It's because he had files that would take him down and prove that he was part of Chernobyl, blah, 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 blah.
Uh-huh.
Okay? So she was using that old guy to help get her dad out of prison, and then the dad turned on that team. Because remember, that team was there. So she had to keep up the act like, I'm on this, whatever the fuck this guy's name is, side. And I apologize for keep using the F word, Linda. I hope she hears that. That was the thing. That was what they were trying to say. That she went to that guy to break her daddy out of prison, and then once they got to Chernobyl to get the uranium, that's when the team was expendable. That's why the big show and dance in front of the Americans, because she was still trying to show, no, I'm not on my father's side. I'm on the other guy's side that's paying you guys. And those guys were going to betray them anyway, so whatever. But, that's there. Ta-da! There it is. It's so freaking dumb. It makes no goddamn sense at all.
No,
Yep.
And then when they finally get to where they're going, and the whole thing was over some radioactive material at Chernobyl, which I guess is expensive.
It was weapons grade. It was weapons grade.
Right.
So,
okay.
That could catch a couple of dollars.
Yeah. So somebody's gonna score some cash, but again, see, this is the thing. Like when he does the double cross at the end, I started to say before, there was a part of me that was kind of on board with it because that is kind of a Die Hard trope.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in the first one, Hans, he was really stealing the money. There was a little bit of a double cross. Okay. And then the second one, the army colonel, full blown, he's a bad guy. Okay. Here they do it too, but I kind of felt like it was weird in this one because when he turns, there's kind of nobody else left.
Yeah.
And it made it feel sort of weird. Like now we've gone to all this trouble and just everyone's a bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
And why are we even here? And they tried to steal something. Again, there's no hostages. There's no nothing. There's no real stakes. And I guess they're going to steal nuclear material, which could be used to make a bomb with.
Right.
That's bad. That's bad. I get that. But I don't know. I'm just saying to myself, this is one of these cases, if John and this guy were never here, what would have happened? And really a lot of nothing. Again, you might have had a little couple of bad guys take each other out, and one steals plutonium and I guess sells it on the black market or uses it for whatever. That's bad, but it's not Die Hard bad. It's not enough to really get me to kind of be really concerned. And like I said, by the time you get to the end and everyone's a bad guy, it kind of just leaves you sort of flat. Who's left to there's nobody there to rescue. There's nobody there to. You didn't.
Technically speaking, there shouldn't be anybody left alive because they were walking around Chernobyl with no goddamn radiation suits on.
That too. Oh my god! I'm saying to myself as I'm watching this, saying that's still Chernobyl, right? That's still. And there was some sort of. Then they pulled something out of a hat where they said oh, this is going to counter the effects of radio. Oh really? Really?
That's ding 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 ding. Bullshit alert. Bullshit alert.
Yeah, right, seriously. I'm Chernobyl levels of radiation, I know it was a long time ago, but still. I no part again, when they that dumb bad CGI scene where the helicopter blows up and they kind of crash through the glass ceilings to end up in the pool.
Into the goddamn pool, which again, goodbye. You're dead.
Right. Seriously.
It's no, it's rainwater. It's no, it's radioactive rainwater, you dilt. You're dead. Goodbye.
Seriously. How they didn't come out of there with 3 eyeballs each? I don't know. You gotta be kidding.
That would have been the awesome ending if they came out like that freaking guy from the first real RoboCop movie.
Seriously, right? Oh my god, totally. They should have just melted. Yeah, they just walk out like it's nothing. I mean, he's wearing a t-shirt and nothing. I'm like, no, I'm not not buying that for a second.
Yeah, no, that was. I mean, there are levels of bullshit, and then there's oh, come on, guys, that was ridiculous. That was just monumentally ridiculous. Okay, the truth of the matter is there are areas of Chernobyl that are survivable without a suit for short periods of time. Okay, but I mean, unless I misunderstood, didn't they go straight to the reactor where all the uranium was being kept?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I mean, that was the whole point. They're trying to get into this stuff, and it's not sealed. It's not whatever.
Right.
I mean, the whole reason they're going there is because it's, I assume, because it's radioactive. I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe I'm just not getting something.
Ground zero of Chernobyl is still going to be very motherfrickin' radioactive. Okay, it's still going to be. Yeah, no, they're dead. Every one of them is dead. All dead. This is the last. It was a good day to die hard because they died of radiation poisoning. It's done.
Seriously, I don't get the title either, and I now I'm nitpicking, but I mean, there's nothing about this film I like. I understood "Live Free or Die Hard" because "Live Free or Die" is the motto of one of the states,
New Hampshire.
So, what is a good day to die? I mean, I guess that's I'm sure there's.
It's a Klingon proverb.
And
also ironically, it was used in Flatliners. Remember, today is a good day to die.
Right, and they reference it saying that the Indians used to say it or whatever. But I kind of felt is that enough of a connection to call this movie a good day to die hard? I don't know. I kind of felt that was a bit of a stretch. But
no, that was some coke fueled movie exec. It was they love that title, "Live Free or Die Hard."
Yeah. What else? Yeah. What else can we? Yeah. What other expressions have die in it? So what can we do?
How about die another day? No, that's been done.
The whole thing was and I tell you too, I felt like this film, there was a lot of filler. Like, the story was so short. I mean, by the time the ending comes,
an hour and 40-minute movie, just for the record.
Yeah, and I felt like that was stretching it, because I mean, I felt like I almost felt like there was a whole third act that was missing. I mean, the whole thing feels like it starts off in the second act. Like, this doesn't feel like, it feels like there was no beginning. So it just sort of starts in the middle of the second act, and then just sort of moves to the third act, and it's done. But a lot of the scenes, like even the scene in the beginning, when he's sitting in the taxi cab and the cab driver's talking to him and he starts singing Frank Sinatra and they're talking,
I want to wake up in the city that never sleep.
Right. I mean, that scene goes on for a long time. And I'm saying to myself already, I'm saying, like, this is taking an oddly long time for him to just sit in the back of a taxi and talk to a cab driver.
They had to establish the traffic thing so that when the girl used that as an excuse for how they were able to get there so fast, he'd know she was lying.
That's fine, but that could have been established in 30 seconds.
No,
he
could
have been sitting there and saying, like, you know, why is it taking so long? Oh, the traffic here is always terrible. You might as well just get out and walk, and he could have just left. That dialogue scene with Frank Sinatra, again, I think they just needed to fill time because they didn't have enough plot to fill a 2-hour movie. Like you said, it was an hour and 40 minutes. It's already like a flash and it's done. There was so many scenes that just sort of hang. There was that scene when they first get to the room, the room that happens kind of in the middle with the big chandeliers they end up jumping out of.
Pretty room, yeah.
When they get there, they hang on the opening shot of that room so long. I almost checked my player to see if it was stuck.
See if it was paused. Yeah, I did the same thing.
I like, again, why are they hanging so long on that scene? Like, I mean, I get it. Okay. I mean, you're going to give me some geography. I see it's a big room. It doesn't show me much, but it's a big room with chandeliers. I get it. But it hung there for like a lot of seconds. And I'm like, it really felt like they were just trying to stretch out these scenes and fill it with fluff because they couldn't fill a runtime.
That feels kind of accurate. That kind of feels accurate, and you gotta love the movie. It still managed to even have product placement. They had that one shot where they're overlooking the hotel. It's like, hey, we got to scope this place out. Oh, look, there just happens to be a Subway, a Russian Subway sandwich shop right behind John McClane. John's McClane, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, and not for nothing too. That scene where they jump out of the window is terrible. Again, just it's so annoying because it was like now it's just.
How did they even know where the hell they were going?
Exactly. You're just gonna run and jump out of a 30-story window. Come on, like I don't even know whatever. But you're just gonna run and jump out a window and hope for the best. Yeah, there's a plan. I mean, that didn't make any sense. You might as well just stay there and take your chances against the helicopter that's shooting fire into the room. Mm-hmm. And not for nothing, too, but, did you notice, too, again, this is why I say this feels nothing like a Die Hard film. John McClane doesn't fist fight with anybody. There is not one fight in this movie. The whole Die Hard is John McClane roughhousing and fighting and doing whatever. I mean, even the over-the-top stuff in 4, at least he's doing it. He's the architect behind it.
Right.
Here, he just feels like a bystander throughout the entire film. The whole story transpires without his involvement, really. And he really doesn't affect much. I mean, even the idea that the daughter shows up and John's the only smart one, he knows that she's bad, doesn't prevent anything, doesn't stop anything. He doesn't get the jump on any situation. So, yeah, I mean, seriously, aside from punching the guy and carjacking the car in the beginning, he doesn't fight with anybody. There's no fighting. So, I mean, seriously, like, the most boring action movie I've ever seen. I mean, you had the one car chase in the beginning. Even if I, give you props and say, okay, look, fair enough, that was a decent car chase, that was it. What was the action scenes after that?
No, I remember all the action scenes after it, but I remember wishing I could fast forward faster.
I mean, it's that. Then you get this chandelier room, which a firefight breaks out fine, and then they go to Chernobyl, and then there's some shootouts in the helicopter and CGI. Mm-hmm, that's it as far as the action scenes go. I mean, that's really like
you killed my father. I'm going to crash in the building.
Seriously, it's so stupid. I will say the part where the guy falls into the helicopter blades was pretty cool. That's probably the best I could say.
I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Directed by a man named John Moore, who gave us the remake of The Omen, Max Payne, Flight of the Phoenix, and most recently, IT with Pierce Brosnan.
Oh, and there's another one you're forgetting. I don't know. The writer, I think, was on board for those, too. Do you know what else he wrote?
No, what else did he write?
X-Men Origins Wolverine.
That just explains everything.
That's all you need to know right there.
You mean Skip Woods?
Yes, Skip Woods.
Yeah.
He wrote this. He's in charge of ruining franchises, and guess what? Thank you. I mean, seriously, again, they were in such a hurry to get Die Hard 5 out, and they put $1 billion franchise in the hands of these knuckleheads. Look at the credentials on these two, the writer and director, and say to yourself, if you own Die Hard, even if you're anxious to get another movie out, are these the guys you're going to say, you know what, you're in charge of my $1 billion franchise. You're in charge of John McClane, one of the most bankable characters in history. I just don't know what people think anymore. And incidentally, by the way, remember all those great stories you heard from Kevin Smith talking about how he worked with Bruce Willis on Die Hard 4?
Yes.
And how Bruce Willis, he seemed really involved in all the aspects of the movie. He took care. He was very concerned that everything be done right. I don't know where he was with this. I don't think he had any part of this. I think you want to talk about just showing up and taking a paycheck. He even the shots of him standing there smiling, I'm saying to myself, that looks like Bruce Willis showing up to work. That does not seem like John
when
McClane
he was a bartender
at all. Right, seriously.
I don't want to talk about this movie anymore. We're done. Let's just give our numbers and let's just go. I gotta go start getting ready for work. So let's put a bullet in this and show it mercy. I gave this a 3.
I am gonna give it. You know what? I was gonna give it a 1. Maybe I'll give it a 2. I literally was. I'm not kidding when I say this is just one of the worst things ever put to film. And 2 hours of my life, I wish I can get back. I'm sorry, 1 hour and 40 minutes, including the credits. I wish I can get back.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything else to say about it. I gave it a 3 simply because, I really enjoyed the staging of the car chase in the beginning. It was nonsensical, but I didn't care. It was kind of balls to the wall. But it was completely outside for a Die Hard flick. That's really the only reason I even gave it that much. Everything else about this sucked. Jai Courtney, go to fucking hell. Seriously. I don't know who you are, where you came from, what studio exec you have pictures of getting pegged
right.
or whatever the situation may be. But seriously, just please, go. You
Yeah.
haven't shown me anything yet.
No, nothing. He's a very strange cat. Again, he's a guy who shows up everywhere, and I'm not getting it. I don't know.
Neither am I.
And incidentally, last I heard, there is a rumor of Die Hard, Die Hard Year 1 or something like that. They're gonna go back and do Die Hard prequels now. That's the rumor right here. I don't know. Don't know if it's worth anything.
End the show. Please end the show. You're killing me here. You're killing me.
With that, Dave and I will be back, but I promise that next week we will be back with a much more fun series. We are anxiously anticipating. This has been a spectacular year for superhero films.
So far.
And I have a hunch that Spider-Man Homecoming is going to keep that trend going. It's coming out on July 7th. So Dave and I are going to jump into the Spider-Man series and talk about the last 2 incarnations of Spider-Man leading up to Homecoming. So I think we will I think we decided we're going to be able to knock out the first 3 before we actually do the Spider-Man Homecoming review, and then we'll just continue on with the other 2 if we care to.
So what you're saying is we're gonna see the first good one, the second great one, the third then we're going to see the new Spider-Man movie, and then it's all downhill from there with the Amazing Spider-Mans. Got it.
Pretty much, yeah. All right, my friend, I will see you next week.
Good night, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the Reviews Without Remorse podcast with Joe and Dave. Join us here every Thursday for a new episode. And be sure to check out the Reviews Without Remorse channel on YouTube and VidMe for spoiler-free reviews of new releases, as well as in-depth discussions of current and classic cinema. If you enjoy this podcast, please consider becoming a patron. You can find our page at patreon.com. As little as $1 a month goes a long way. All clips in this podcast are used for commentary and critique, and is considered fair use. No copyright infringement is intended.
Are you crazy? How can you put Michael Keaton in front of Christian Bale?
Oh, please. Even my poodles know Bale's overrated.
Thank you. That's why I say Keaton's number one. He brought a sense of humor to the role.
Well, if you're going to factor in a sense of humor, then I should be at the top of the list. It should be me, Keaton, Kilmer, Lego, Bale, and that pretty boy Clooney.
Really? You're ahead of Bale? The man who personified the words, "I'm Batman."
I never had to say I'm Batman. I showed up. People knew I was Batman. Everywhere I went on the TV show, mall openings, Julie Newmar's bungalow.
I'm sold. You're ahead of Bale.
There's another reason I should be higher on the list. All those other guys had muscles built into their costumes. All I had in my bat suit was 100% grade A West.